Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know who was he signed under. I'm
Jeez.
trying to
Who was he signed under? Was it I think it was under Geffen, maybe. I don't know.
let me see. He was signed under RAC Records, maybe?
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing RAC Records here. Yeah. I don't know, maybe he just didn't have the best mentorship.
Yeah. He
Uh,
again,
he took a slave
he
deal.
remarketed himself a certain way, and it was cool for a little bit, but I mean, it fizzled out. I mean, but then that's leading into that great performance at the beginning of the Super Bowl just led into it set the tone for the energy that was gonna, come at the halftime show. And I think that's where we're at now, right?
Yeah, he definitely set the tone. He definitely set the tone. I yeah, so I right now I have a video pulled up, sort of
Mhm.
doing a little breakdown.
Yeah.
This is a few minutes, but I'm gonna try to trim through this as much as I can. And if you agree or disagree with some of this, just let me know. And
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This in no way meant patriotism and love of America as a country. Actually, let's play a game. I'm gonna tell you all the real symbolic cultural moments as a Boricua, including what this one was about, and I want you to tell me in the comments how many you
Is this
got
sound
right.
playing?
Now let's begin where it all started. We see the Jibaro, the traditional Puerto Rican countryman with the pava, the straw hat, saying,
Qué rico es el latino. ¡Hoy se ve!
and interestingly enough, he starts by setting the precedent that all of this is going to be in Spanish because he says Benito Antonio Martínez Ocasio, his full government name, presents el espectáculo de medio tiempo del Super Tazón, the spectacle of the halftime of the Super Bowl, all in Spanish. And if you look at the backdrop, you will see the sugarcane plantations, which in Puerto Rico were the backbone of the island's colonial economy, heavily dependent on enslaved African labor, particularly during the 19th century sugar boom. In the very next frames, we see Bad Bunny turned around before he reveals himself, and he's wearing a 64 on his football jersey. 64 was the number the Trump administration gave out as the number of people who died after Hurricane Maria, but the actual death toll by that time was actually 1,000.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
All these inflating,
Crazy.
deflating numbers, yo, that's one of the most insane parts, like of that what's going on is that all these man, it's things are you can't even really trust the statistics anymore. You have to or the data that comes out, you have to like you have to verify it by like five
Yeah.
different sources, credible sources.
Yep.
And that has slowed things down dramatically, and it's
Mm.
like that intentionally, I think. But it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
52. Then we see Bad Bunny walk around the sugarcane plantation showing us very historical and cultural markers of Puerto Rican culture. Like, for example, the coconut stand, which historically, coconuts provided subsistence for Puerto Rican workers and were considered a vital tree of life for supplying water, food, and oil. The abundance of coconut palms allowed them to become a staple for local businesses. Roadside coconut vendors became a staple of Puerto Rican culture, particularly in coastal areas offering fresh, chilled coconuts with the tops cut off. Then he walks by the table of father, uncles, and grandfathers playing dominoes, which in Puerto Rico, dominoes or el dominó is more than just a game. It is a cherished cultural staple, social ritual, and symbol of community that bridges generations together through strategy and storytelling.
This is one of the pieces that I like most. Like he was bringing it back to like, this is where I'm from, you know,
It
and I am American. Like that was
Mhm.
really the underlining, uh, some of the underlining stuff that I got out of it was like, hey, like he's sharing what it's like to be Puerto Rican in America, right?
Mhm.
To be an American, to be, the root. Yeah. Or you gonna say something?
Yeah, no, no, you made a really good point. He's he's also showing us how similar all of our history is.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because what I started noticing, I'm like, sugarcane fields, and I remember, uh, um, my great grandma I guess my great grandma would tell my grandma stories, and my grandma would pass it on to my mom about how when they used to work in the fields, even like in Mexico, it was like there was also like sugarcane fields and stuff like that. And that like when it got conquered, there were people that kind of like the Europeans and Spaniards would come and they had businesses kind of like that. And it just reminded me of like, oh, wait a minute. So sugar cane was like, I feel like Latinos had a lot of like the sugar cane or like the fruit fields, and then like other cultures had different things, right? Like there were it was always it was always some type of like a substance that we needed, whether it was like sugar cane, um uh strawberries, cotton, right? Like
Yeah,
these are things that we need for not only to consume, we need so that we can for us to dress,
to
for
develop.
warmth, right? Like for and it's like they're these societies were built off the back of black and brown people.
Literally. Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, and hey, I picked that up too. And I think one of the craziest things that I've seen was that there were a lot of black folks. I feel like it was the FBA types. And I know there's that. I'm gonna cover that a whole nother video. But look forward to it. Go subscribe to the fanfic channel if you seen this.
I
But
definitely, yeah, I think I have already, but yeah. And
um,
you know what? I had a buddy who just talked to me, and he's a friend of mine. He's from I think he's originally from Chicago. He's black, and one of the first things he like asked me was like, "Man, I'm sorry. I know a lot of," and I'm like, "Look, man, I get it. I can't be mad because I know this country has treated you guys like so bad for many years, and like there's times where it seems like certain individual like certain groups, like at times even Mexican, but like Cuban and other like Cubans, I don't know why they're on that shit sometimes, but like they don't support you. Like I get it, man. I would be too. And that's why I'm 10 toes down like 100% of the time when it comes to like being out there for y'all. And not that I expect y'all to be out there for me, but like at least I know like I'm gonna be out there because that's in my heart. Um,
exactly.
but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of this a lot of this can be cross verified if you take a moment and you think, all right, how did we get to where we are now? Well, we have the Epstein files.
Mm,
uh, that's a part of it, and a lot of that is just an evolution of colonization. Like we never stopped colonization. Um, it just evolved into these elitists,
yep.
who became a part of these cults and that uh, that orchestrate a lot of stuff. Yeah, even in the government, it's crazy. But if you go back, a lot of this can be dialed down, and I think there's a lot of missing history. Definitely that is intentionally institutionalized to ignore a lot of that history when it pertains to Latin America and the United States. It's all America, but it wasn't until the Spaniards arrived where it was named in Latin America and colonized. Uh,
Right.
and they brought Africans over. They and they had traditions where they would breed the darks and indigenous and Africans. They would crossbreed them, and uh they would they would take lighter complexion indigenous and Africans over to Spain. That whole thing, an entire thing. These were traditions that they had. They were imperial traditions, and there were social traditions that they had, and they didn't necessarily like write them down as definitive traditions, but these were very prevalent within their how they orchestrated things, and this reoccurred throughout history from the from 1492, 12 to 1750 to 1800s, and
Mhm.
still very prevalent. And it shows up, I think, in a lot of insecurities in a lot of black and brown communities, to where the Spaniards really revolutionized how colorism is viewed in
100%. Yep.
in America. And when I say America, I'm just not talking about the US. I'm talking about Latin America. I'm talking about Canada, the US. It all has its roots and foundations toward that point in time where there were all those there were the Spaniard invasions, there were the British invasions, and
Right.
the Spaniards still came out on top.
Mhm.
Like, again, I'm gonna break that down a little in a way more thorough video in a later time. But yeah, again, yeah,
It's interesting, man, and it's interesting, and I can't wait to tune in. Yeah, we could talk some other time too and into depth, but there's some experiences that I saw, and like I noticed certain like Spaniard Mexicans because again, any Spaniard can come, Spanish can come here in America and eventually be a Spanish American, right?
mm,
So there were some Spaniards that ended up becoming Mexican,
yeah,
but you can tell that like my great grandma was as dark as yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Celia Cruz. Celia Cruz was like an Afro Latina. Like my grandma was like
okay.
considered like Afro Latina. Like she was an Afro Latina, my great grandma, but she was dark, curly hair, and people would like shame her, and a lot of the times they call her like they even call my mom in Spanish they call her negra,
Mm,
which means dark, right?
right.
And um for the longest time my mom didn't like that, and it was almost like I would notice even as a kid, I'm like, why are they calling her that? Like, yeah, okay, we're darker, like she's darker, and if I get in the sun too long, I get a lot more shades darker. But I'm like, why is that a bad thing? And I noticed like, well, these Spanish Mexican, that's just a way of like social classification here. And it's like, oh shit, it's everywhere. It's not just in America. Like, damn.
It's not just in the US. It's everywhere. The Spaniards went everywhere.
Mm,
They went to Africa, they came back, they sent Columbus, they made uh Latin America a Spanish empire, and they grew and developed. Um yeah, I mean there are two specific traditions that I mentioned, but they're just to name a few. I can't really say this one right now, and I'm working on the pronunciation of it. But there was one that was called Mejor la Raza, right? And I was like,
the better race.
yeah, I was like,
Mm.
basically improve the race or improve the white race, depending on the translation. But that was more of like imperial. Um, that was more of like an imperial tradition for them. It wasn't something that they wrote down or something that they uh made law, right? It was more so something that they followed in terms of like a structuring an infrastructure or model, right? They wanted the lights, even like they breed it with the way that they did certain things. But there's also one that I'm gonna send right here. Let me see if I could. I don't know. I don't know if you can pronounce that. How's your Spanish?
That was pretty good. I mean,
Pretty good. Okay. Let me
first
see.
language, Spanish is my first language, I guess. So.
First. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Um. So I don't know if you could pronounce this. Can I write this down? Let's see. Is there a private? Yeah. There we go. Put it in a private chat here. So there's this one right here, which means purity of bloodline, which was
Limpieza
another
de
tradition.
sangre.
Say that one more time.
Limpieza de sangre.
Le pise de sangre.
Limpieza de sangre.
Okay, I'm gonna
So,
practice on that. I'm
yeah.
practice. But yeah, purity of blood, which was another tradition that it was like
Yeah, it actually translates to cleansing of blood.
cleansing of blood. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Yes.
hits even hits even like harder, like crazy cleansing blood, right?
Yeah, they were on some vampire-ish, but yeah, again, have you if someone were to try to figure out how we got to the point to where racism is still prevalent and colonization is still, we're still getting a lot of the same factors occurring
Mm.
hundreds of years after slavery. This is why. This is, these two worldviews both both of these worldviews played a pivotal role, at least in terms of my knowledge at this point, that they were this was a part of how they chose to colonize and develop as an empire in America. A lot of people don't realize these were yes, these were Spaniards, but they had an empire that transcended 1775, lasted after that and helped build the American infrastructure,
Right.
the US infrastructure. So, you know, yeah. Yeah, let me see. Let me go back to the video though.
He then walks by badass Puerto Rican women doing construction, which represents badass Puerto Rican women who shouldn't be underestimated because they also do manual labor, like construction, very subversive to the patriarchy. Then he walks by a piragua cart. Now, piraguas are more than just a shaved ice dessert in Puerto Rico. They're actually a cultural icon, a symbol of nostalgia and a staple of island life. Brought to places like New York City during the Great Migration in the 1940s, piraguas symbol.
I grew up, I grew up in California. So the elote, man,
Elote or raspados. You ever had a
res-
raspado?
is that the
It's similar to this. It's
it,
shaved ice, and they put in like
yes.
usually like a condensed milk on top, and like
I'm forgetting
different flavors.
which one of those sold the corn chips with the tahine on it? Was that the same one?
That might have been the same guy selling the raspados. The raspados are an actual so this is the piraguas, right? So
Okay.
piraguas is basically a raspado, but in Mexican. And so, but the same guy, the same vendor that would sell these would walk around with like those like the corn and all that, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I need that right now.
Yeah. Hey, look, we've always been these like when people say like black and brown people are lazy, like no, bro, we've always been hustling. Like we've been like if it's not selling music, we've been selling corn or ice cream out of our like out of our trunks or something, right? So
Yeah. 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 I mean, I thought about diving into a subject, but I already know that we're gonna talk about that. But
we invented capitalism. Just keep that in mind. We invented it. Like the whole creating businesses and doing that. We invented that. They just took it and
they profited off of
they
it.
profit off of it.
Yeah, they capitalized off of it, and
Mhm.
they capitalized off of it the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
Um, not the way that we necessarily wanted to all the time. And yeah,
Well, see, they took it. They took our the way we make money, and they're like, how can we do it, but then exploit these people?
yes, yes, yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm right there. Yeah, and yeah, it's
The adaptability and endurance of Puerto Rican culture in new environments. But then we see him walk by a taco cart, but not just any taco cart. This is an actual taco cart in California called the Villas Taco Cart. The business owner, Victor, who started the business out of his grandmother's home kitchen 8 years ago, now has 3 locations around California. And this shows Bad Bunny has a commitment to supporting local small businesses over big corporations. After he visits the taco cart, we do see him ducking under boxers as he continues singing. Often considered one of the best boxing nations, pound for pound, Puerto Rico has produced over a dozen Hall of Fame inductees, and in 2004, it became the first territory to have champions in all 17 traditional weight divisions. Boxing is deeply ingrained in society, and it serves as a pathway for and reflection of the island's warrior spirit. Then we see the famous casita that we were introduced to at the residency in Puerto Rico.
That's crazy. That's a lot of boxers.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a lot. Hey.
It serves as a cultural anchor representing home, community, and the Marquesina party culture. The Marquesina is an open-air garage where people meet, greet, and talk for hours all day. And yes, Black Afro-Puerto Rican representation was brought to the forefront at the casita because Black Puerto Ricans very much exist, take up space, and are family.
Dog, they look black.
Yeah.
Well, like, yo, come on, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? The Spaniards went to Puerto Rico too.
Yeah.
That's America.
They try to conquer everything.
No matter how much white supremacy doesn't like the fucking idea. And the same goes for queer and gay representation. We exist, live, laugh, and our gay joy is also resistance and revolutionary. But then to the melody of Monaco, he tells us that he made it to Super Bowl 60 because he believed in himself. And then he reminds you, believe in yourself, because you will be able to achieve everything you want in life if you do so. From there, we go to the actual wedding that was real and officiated at the Super Bowl, which is iconic in and within itself, but is really about family and community and love. And then we reveal that Lady Gaga's in the...
I don't understand why she was there. Maybe.
So here's the thing. So right before Lady Gaga starts to sing, Bad Bunny in Spanish goes, "This is what you wanted."
Dang!
And then she starts singing, and I didn't get it at first. I'm like, "What do you mean this is what you want? This is what you wanted?" He wasn't talking to us.
He was talking to them.
He was talking to them. He's like, "Oh, this is what you wanted? Here's Lady Gaga."
Dang.
But something about her setting up, I have to listen to her verse because I think she says something in her verse, or he might explain what she ends up saying. But
feel that Lady Gaga's in the motherfucking building, and not only in the building, but killed it. But this was also a culturally significant moment. Gaga is wearing a light blue dress, which is the correct kind of blue that goes onto the original Puerto Rican flag that people in Puerto Rico were killed and imprisoned for flying after the US passed La Ley de Mordaza, or the gag law of 1948. That light blue represents sovereignty and resistance. The current dark blue flag is supposed to resemble the blue on the American flag in support of furthering the aims of colonization supporting statehood. Gaga also accented her gown with a custom Flor de Maga corsage, official flower of Puerto Rico. After that, Bad Bunny falls back off of the building as a trust fall to signify the bond of trust built on community and familial support that is so integral in Puerto Rican culture as opposed to the American culture, which is toxically about rugged individualism. He's falling onto his people because he knows they will catch him, because we're all we have and we are each other's safety net. And yes, that Puerto Rican community is built in and around the bodegas, the mini marts, the mom and pop restaurants, and the Puerto Rican barbershops and salons. At one point, he even gets a shot of coconut rum from a woman named Toñita, who he also has in his music. This is the actual Toñita, who is the owner of Brooklyn's Caribbean Social Club, one of the last surviving Puerto Rican social clubs in the city, and she is an iconic figure in New York, and there is a celebration in her honor every June 22nd. After that, Bad Bunny goes and gives his little boy self-representation, his grown-up self Album of the Year Grammy, and tells himself to always believe in himself, showing little Puerto Rican boys and Latino boys all around the diaspora that they should believe in themselves because they will go to extreme heights. Then he has a
if it'd be best to go check out this guy over on TikTok, if I should send the audience there, but or if we should finish it off here. I think this is I think he said pretty much. I don't know, maybe we
I mean, I would suggest everybody go check him out because he's breaking this down like pretty well. And I think this is definitely like an episode within itself talking about the things he's pointing out, but not only that, but how it reflects to probably everybody's culture. Like if you're black or brown, you came from a culture that's connected to the same experience that Bad Bunny's culture also went through. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is why, and it's crazy because when he talked about America, and I'm like, he keeps mentioning America, right? And I'm like, oh, he's talking about the Americas,
The Americas,
the
yeah.
Americas, and I'm like, bro, we are all American, like we all like, and it just blew my mind because I know when I go to Mexico, and they're like, "Where are you from originally?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm Mexican, but I'm from like the United States." And there's been times where I've been like, "I'm from America." And they look at you like, "It's all America. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have to specify like, "Oh, the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, that America. Oh, okay, that part is America."
I've been I've traveled and from what I've gauged is generally when they hear America they think United States. But then they also don't entirely understand that there's a difference between Mexico and Canada,
Right.
right? That in terms of culture, right? Or they just look at everyone there as the Americas. But the representation on the world is that the United States is the at the forefront of Americas. And
Right.
so, yeah, in that sense, I agree. But yeah, yeah. I mean, the breakdown is crazy. He goes into all of it. Maybe it's 3 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes left. You want to finish this?
Yep.
This-
Then he has a Jibaro playing the cuatro, introducing Ricky Martin singing Lo que le pasó a Hawaii from his DTMF album. This instrument, the cuatro, originated in 16th century with the Jibaros, and it is primarily used in música jíbara, evoking traditional country life. It is a symbol of Puerto Rican soul, resilience, and identity, often used in folk music and increasingly in modern genres. And then you tie the history of that instrument to Ricky Martin singing Lo que pasó a Hawaii, which is Bad Bunny's song, warning that he doesn't want the US to do to Puerto Rico what they did to Hawaii. The song serves as a political anthem and warning to Puerto Rico, comparing the two islands' shared experiences of colonization, displacement, rampant gentrification, and over tourism. And he's singing in the scene of Bad Bunny's album cover, which already represents the story of how Puerto Ricans get in community with each other, sitting outside in the famous plastic white chairs, except on the album cover, they're empty. Just like this chair is, because of gentrification and that displacement. And it's actually poetic that Ricky Martin is then interrupted his singing by exploding light posts behind him, with Jibaros trying to fix them. Given the fact that Puerto Rico has a continually failing electric grid because the corrupt pro-statehood politicians do nothing about it. And it's
Damn,
interesting that you see the Jibaros, the
that's
country folk.
crazy. I didn't even put that visual together.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know what's really crazy though is that I don't know. The genius is working. At first, I'm like, is PG Lang like involved in this? Because the parallels within that performance and this one, I'm like, there's a lot of visual parallels, but the fact that they're both pushing a almost a very parallel messaging as well, I'm like,
Yeah.
the people involved are either geniuses or they have to be related in
I mean,
some
this is
way.
their job, and they had an entire, whether or not, Kendrick's Super Bowl performance set the standard, they had something to work off of. Um, and the people that'll come after this have something to work off of now. If it's not Kendrick's performance, it's this performance. And at the very least, yeah, you could probably conclude that it was maybe Kendrick's performance that really set the tone, that really set the standard. And I would agree with that if that's the conclusion.
And you're right. Kendrick did set the performance, and now that I'm thinking about it, as long as Jay Z continues to be involved in curating the artist
Yeah.
or putting the artist in that position, we're gonna we're gonna keep getting these moments where look what we're doing. We're sitting here watching somebody break it down, and there's actually content there to break down. Like this is becoming breaking down an album or a song, like, and they're doing this like crazy deep. Like you saw Kendrick's performance. It was until this performance, I'm like, Kendrick's was the best. And I would have never thought I can't I can't imagine a Bad Bunny beating Kendrick's performance and the information that they're doing. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying it's different. It's but it hits the same level of like information that Kendrick's performance was trying to do.
Yeah, it says words without saying words. It displays what the intent of the songs are, and it represents more than it visually explains what's going on. And I love that it's happening in like a linear fashion, like he's painting the picture in real time. You know, that's just beautiful. That's the best it can. You know, that's the best thing you could hope for is that a picture is painted.
Yep.
You know, the Michael Jackson and the Prince, you know, the Purple Rain and the all that stuff is cool.
It's cool. It's cool. They're Beyonce, Rihanna, all that. It's cool and stuff, but it's like this is the next level. This is exactly
Mm,
what, again, not to put it all on Kendrick, but this is Kendrick's bag.
yeah,
This is Kendrick's the guy that when you're looking at songs and albums, it's like, I mean, look at Damn. He designed songs, and then in that structure of songs, he told a story back and front, from front to back to front, and two different stories. Like this man's a genius, and this is the type of genius that we're seeing with other artists.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We gotta set the standard. I mean, I feel like the bar has been so low that our us accepting anything less than the standard is sort of creating margin for error or margin for miscommunication, you know, or atone for miscommunication. I want to be able to understand the message, or you know, be able to if you're not able to convey your message, um, you you may have to work on your craft. You may have to, you know, course correct or something.
Right.
You know, but you know, it does set a tone from, you know, who is on, you know, who's actually doing the work and who is you know, falling short on their on hard working, you know, because things aren't just made overnight. It takes, you know, more time, error, mistakes to come to a point to where, you know, your work is reflected and things are more um communicative, right? Uh it's not an overnight thing. So
Mm.
yeah. Let me see how much more we got in this.
You see, the jibaros, the country folk, the common men and women are the ones trying to fix the problems themselves, with no help or support from a governmental system. But Bad Bunny doesn't just stay on the ground singing to the camera his song El Apagón, which is really about the consistent blackouts that plague Puerto Rico. Because him on the ground, having the Puerto Rican flag and singing directly to the camera demonstrates his world-facing advocacy and him using his platform to bring attention to the issue. But there's a point where he puts the flag down and climbs to the top of the light post himself to demonstrate his commitment to our people. He's saying, I will be in the trenches fixing this and in any one of our problems because we do this together. Community is central to this theme. But then we get to where we started. Bad Bunny looks at the football and he said, God bless America.
God bless America!
And people who know English specifically heard that and said, yes, he's being nationalistic and patriotic because he is American. Yes, stick it to the man. You're Puerto Rican. You're a citizen. But then they didn't hear the part right after that. Because right after he said, God bless America, he said a Spanish word, sea.
God bless America! Sea Chile, Argentina.
Sea is a Spanish word that means be it. So when he said, God bless America, sea, and then lists all the countries located in the continents of the Americas, plural, What he's saying is that when we talk about America, we have to decenter the United States. He begins by listing countries geographically under the equator to the top, from the continent of South America, stops at Mexico, shifts to the Caribbean, then all the way to the top of North America with US and then Canada, framing the Americas in a way that has never been done before in a very subversive and revolutionary way, and then ends by centering Puerto Rico. So what he's saying is that together we are America, including all of the countries historically marginalized and neglected. It was a fuck you to the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much picked that up. He's like the light pole. I'll do it myself, and
Yeah.
that's been the American story. Like those that are willing to, you know, put, take self accountability and just put things on your back and say, hey, I will be the one to step forward when it pertains to, the next step when it pertains to all of us, not just like, not just myself.
Right.
And that's something that I had to learn and just growing up is that I think one of my biggest lessons was like, yeah, you could do things alone, but it's a lot there's a lot more it's a lot more fulfilling when you do things as a community, when you do things as a family, as a team. And I think, there's definitely playing your part, understanding the role that you play when it pertains to trying to move forward, and not moving back. All right. I mean, yeah, it makes this was a great performance in my eyes. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it was great. Personally, when they started getting to like the roll call,
Mm,
uh, it was like emotion. Like I'm not an emotional guy, I feel like, but then I think I did my video on it, and it just the emotions hit me, man. I started like tearing up, and and it's like when we're being celebrated now. Like at one point, I kid you not, man. My mom didn't speak a lick of English. She tried broken English, but there was times where we'd be at the laundromat or even the store, and she'd be telling me like in Spanish, like, "Oh, come here, keep up." And a white lady or a couple times a man would tell her, "Hey, lady, you can't be speaking like whatever your language is. This is America."
yeah.
And my mom would look at them in her broken English. She'd say like, "I can speak whatever I want." And she didn't let nobody tell her what to do. But like now it's like we have Spanish at the Super Bowl. This man performed it in Spanish, and people are actually like everybody's celebrating. People are like singing along or even dancing along. Like even if you don't understand the words, a lot of people can dance still, right? You feel the rhythm, right? And it's like I don't know what he's saying, but it feels good, you know?
It feels spiritual. It
Yeah.
feels Yeah. Yeah, you can feel it. And that's one thing, like when people put their heart and their soul into their work and what they do, I think an outlet like this, it really shines. And yeah, I mean, you spoke on, some of the fears that you remember facing.
Mm,
And that it's crazy that it's still prevalent in times like this today.
yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. You know, I think that trying to understand where exactly we're at and what exactly has not changed, I think um is something that we have to start to vocalize about more freely, more openly, without fear of being um shunned, right? And it's difficult to do that. It's really going to take people that are not afraid of repercussion, retaliation, um, because it's trying times. There's a lot going on that people are going door to door. And um it's strange. Like it is strange, but then I look at things like the Epstein files and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense. This tracks.
Mhm.
This is all it's difficult to just dial it down to a distraction, but in part, yeah, it's divide and conquer. It's a distraction. Um, to say, just a few words, to keep us in bubbles, right? Because
Exactly.
people
Oh
go
yeah.
into
Yeah.
bubbles, and they don't, they seclude themselves, they isolate themselves, and they're afraid to talk out of fear of going back or misspeaking or miscommunication instead of trying to vocalize what they mean and ask questions. That's one thing I didn't see. I didn't see it during the election. I rarely see it today. Is people don't ask questions. They just assume they understand what the person across from of them is talking about. And even videos. Like I'll leave a comment. I'm not afraid to leave a comment. Like, what did you mean by this? You said this particular thing. What did you mean by this? But I understand that's not necessarily always going to be the medium that you can use, right? But in terms of creating those spaces where we can communicate and start to understand where each other stands without trying to judge, right, or feeling judged, or uh or and even like trying even looking at evidence, right, together. Hey, let's check this out together.
Right.
Based
Yeah.
off this evidence, like this is the conclusion I'm coming to based off of this right here. Based off of these points right here, based off of this history right here, this is, honest reviews, right? There's a lack of that because a lot of people just want to be right. They just want to win. They just want to be right, and that's getting us nowhere. It's never got us anywhere, you know. Um,
And you know what? I got to give your props too because I've seen you in different servers and communities, and you're over there. You're over there asking the tough questions sometimes, and sometimes you're rubbing people the wrong way. But I'm like, he's just asking questions, man.
yeah,
Like it's not like you're not a troll. You're not over there trolling or trying to be like. Uh, and I just think people are like some people just take like even questions like, oh, that's offensive, and it's
yeah, I'd be really trying to challenge people, and I get it. And maybe it's not always the right like medium, but I I really yeah, I'll even go on like debate channels and hop in the lobby. Like, hey, like, yeah, let's figure this out.
who wants to fight? Who
who
wants to go
who
fight?
are you? Like, who are you? What are you doing here? Yeah, this is me. Let's figure this out. This is what I'm working with.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad actor. I'm not a troll. This is
You
this is how I see where your hang up is.
you've been kicked out of certain communities though, huh? Have you?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, not like I won't say like um not
Y
recently. I won't say recently.
you
I've
challenge the status quo, I think, though. You're that type of
Yeah,
individual that
that's just me.
yeah.
I can't help it. It's a natural thing that I've developed as an adult. That I and maybe that's something honestly I don't think that's something I'm ever gonna grow out of. I'm
And
always
you
gonna I'm always
you
gonna challenge.
shouldn't. You shouldn't, because a lot of us look in the Hispanic community, I feel like we have that like that in us, but we've been so programmed that when like generations come to this country, we're like, oh, we're visitors here, we're privileged to be here, we need to just like, even though we're very outspoken, this is not our country, so we're gonna, and it's like, what, this is our country, what are you talking about, like
You're
this,
right.
it's like
Right. It is white people are just now remembering that they're just now remembering that what white elite people will sacrifice white privilege for for white dominance.
exactly,
You
oh
know,
man, yeah,
they're just now remembering, so they forgot, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy that they'll sacrifice white privilege for dominance, and that's they did that a while,
yeah,
you know. But yeah, it's a lot going on. I love having conversations where I could talk about like specific uh topics. This was more of like a general video, and I'm gonna do like a more specific video. You're free to join me anytime when it comes to those Um, I did want to move on to the next topic though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know, Baby Keem, bro. Yo,
Hey,
Baby, what are you?
hey, it's Baby Keem season, bro. It's Baby Keem season.
Yo, he dropped an album, and I have three theories, but I'm thinking, should I drop my theory before I dive into? I don't know. I want to react to this video as well, the new documentary.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you good with checking that out with me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I
Okay.
checked it out 3 times today.
So I
Let's
haven't did
do it.
like I haven't did like a full reaction.
I haven't written any notes on it though. I'll have to sit down sometime and really just because I was at work
Yeah.
and I had Big Zo, the homie Big Zo, had it on and I'm listening to it. And then I saw it earlier. I saw a little bit clips of it, but I'll later sit down and do my whole note taking that I usually do.
That'll be I'll be looking forward to that video. I know I know you can constructively write this down too. That's gonna be dope. But I mean, okay, maybe wait. I'm gonna drop my theory right now. Fuck F it.
Okay.
Here it is right here.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. This is fun. It's fun. Let's do this.
Let me drop it right here. All right, let me see. And when you see it, you know what? No. I'm gonna drop it.